Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. I have to admit, I have been a little bit absent-minded the last few days. It has a lot to do with just a lot of stress, a lot of stuff to worry about, a lot of stuff to think about. I've got a lot to learn at this job. Because while I understand how to teach English, the testing and what they want put on electronic means is different. Anyway, let me start off by thanking the last two that came through on the Cash App. S. Jock and Mojo were the last two. And I appreciate you guys coming through from the bottom of my black heart and from the depths of my black mind. I also want to thank Crimson Cure and Passport OG for covering two different things that a lot of people did not realize were related, but they are. Crimson Cure covered what Eboni K Williams said. And she also subsequently covered how the sisterhood came at Eboni K Williams because of what she said. She said, if you're going for marriage, there's a window of time for that opportunity. Go for it early. And they went for her. Let's be honest about why they went after her. I told you before that this is war. I told you that they hate us more than they even love themselves, if they love themselves at all. And I told you that that which is good for us, that which is convenient for us, is exactly what they will oppose very reliably again and again, because they hate us. Why they hate us is not important. We did not do anything to provoke it. We did not have the power to do the things they say for which they hate us. So they can hate us, and it's not important. Why? When we start to factor in, because it's lies anyway. They're capable of hating us because somebody else lied. That's the first thing that we have to understand. And they're capable of hating us because of a lie they never experienced happening at all, let alone who did it. So without even being robbed, you can convince them that we stole something from them. That's why. And yet they have everything they already had, having lost nothing. Just this one example. But what Eboni K Williams told the ladies is not independent of what Passport OG talked about in the black tax and how the black tax can be rewritten. He theorizes that it's in the process of disappearing because different people are being able now to meet black men, different kinds of black men where they are. I know that that's true. I also know that in some places they are rediscovering black men that have been right next to them all this time. Look where I live. They've had black populations for a long time. And I'm coming to understand that they're beginning to rediscover these black populations. Many things that are African American in terms of style, aesthetically, made their way to Saudi. Through the black Saudis, now you've got the non-black Saudis copping the styles with the haircuts. A lot of them are now going for the West Coast look. And that makes sense because of the weather here. But that's what we're seeing now. I'm seeing more of them shaving their heads. It's no hotter now than it was before, but I'm seeing more of them shaving their heads, wearing white t-shirts. They're looking more like West Coast G's from the 90s and early 2000s. More of them are getting into rap. More of them are they're even having rap beefs. Something else is going on too. You're seeing that the ones that aren't black are not doing as well with rap as those of us who are. The ones of him that you're seeing that some of them who are not black are wearing Africa medallions one year, and then next year they're having beefs with rappers that are black. I don't keep up with rap in any country. I had to learn this from somebody else. And I want to give a shout out to Be Deep. Dark Matter. Shouts out to you, bro. Salam alaikum dan uwa. Yakake. He told me about it. And in the process of him telling me about this, I've witnessed women staring at him. And I've witnessed when I was in a car with a brother from here, from this country, and a lady ain't black, pulled up, no hijab, pulled her car alongside his. And this was in traffic, so she was normal. But she rolled the window down and asked him a question, and she asked if her lips were fine. He said, "Ma'am, you're good to go." He was not flirtatious. He was polite, but he said the whole thing. And so this is largely in response to her asking. This is part of a pattern that you're seeing here. The black tax used to be here. It's not here anymore. And it's following the same pattern. See, the studies to which Passport OG referred are studies from early 2000s. Well, let's say 2009, I believe. That's when they started to study it. But we're now seeing that black men are the second most sought after in the world. And that when it comes to appearance alone, women like brothers more. And that's what they're looking for. Here, the women, see, you don't really know what Arab women like in general. What are they looking for? You don't really know. Because they don't talk about, they don't get out in public and say, "Oh, I like the muscles." They don't do that. And they don't complain about being lonely when they get lonely. They don't sit up and say, "I need a man to do this, that, and the other for me and rub my booty." And you don't see that. Can they go through it? Yes. Do they actually talk about it? Not publicly. So this is what winds up being the case. You don't know. It's a mystery. But even here, these women that are mysterious in terms of what they want are saying their own men know this. That means they can't hide it. They're not hiding it. They like black men with the bodyguard look. That's what they like. What they see is the power behind the power. So if someone is wealthy and someone is famous, best believe they're going to have some black bodyguards even here. Now, if I were wealthy and famous, all my bodyguards would be black. All of them. They could be any complexion, but they'd be black. I'd probably be considered a racist for doing it. Nope. But yeah, they would be. And this is not the only country in which that has happened. This actually happened in some of the princely states of the Indian subcontinent before. They had Abyssinians, East Africans, guarding them. And in any case, what I'm getting at is that here it's known. And it's starting to be more known how they've been chasing brothers down. Brothers have been telling me this for a few years, but I never saw it. Then I hung out with Mr. Hausawi and I hung out with B Deep and I began to see it. I used to wonder why it is that when I would speak, then sometimes women that didn't notice me would. And then later in the town I used to live in, in the town in which I used to live and in which my wife still lives, when she and I would be out, sometimes the women would take a double look at me. I thought they were just shocked to see the two of us together. Because my wife and I don't look like we come from the same background. I used to think that's what it is. Now it puts it in a new light. They were looking and saying, oh, if he can satisfy a black woman, he can satisfy us. It seemed to be that was the case. Now that's what it seems to be. And so therefore, I'm looking at this situation now and I'm thinking, oh, wow. This has been going on for a while in secret. I get it now. It's in secret. This is what's been going on for quite a while. Now they're being more open about it. And unfortunately, dirty movies have had some role to play in that. I mean, they're blocked here legally. I'm not even going to ask anybody how it is they get around the restrictions that the government has placed on such websites. You know what? I'm glad to not know. I'd rather not know, but they do. And some of this stuff gets in the country and circulates. And one thing I do know is that one thing I do understand is that men and women alike have a weakness for the visual depictions of the bump and grind. That I do know. So therefore, I understand that they're looking at brothers now, checking brothers out, especially if you're in shape. And so while many Saudis might have to worry about if they're ever going to find anybody, if they're even wanted, a lot of brothers don't have to. Brothers hit the gym, they don't have to worry about if someone wants them or not, which of course increases their chances of being married. This is going on here, and Passport OG suspects that it's changing generally because he lives in Japan, so he's observing this across the ocean and in Japan, the black tax. And I know that there are more and more Asian women that are showing a preference for brothers as they see more brothers that are making money, got skills, trade, doing stuff, not being stereotypes. I know that that's going on in Asia. I know that. I'm seeing it happen here too as well. So I understand that this is happening. From him, I began to understand this black tax is vanishing in the States. It is vanishing in different parts of the world as well. Ironically, Africa is where the black tax is not vanishing. And that's the irony of it. And that's why I'm going to sit up and say to women from the continent, if you like black men, I'm talking to sisters from Africa itself. If you do like black men, you will have to compete and you will have to do things that you've been told culturally women don't do for men. You're going to have to do them, not because you're inferior, but because you got to understand you don't look different from the Western sisters that are preaching feminism to you in the first place, under which the alphabet politicians are going to put their alphabet agenda, because most of the alphabet community doesn't have that agenda. But you got to understand that you don't look different from those sisters. The ones from whom we are fleeing when we get passports and leave the West look just like you. And if you act like them, you will train black men to not want black women. And then right now, as it is, you got these racially ambiguous women and non-black women that are coming to brothers. They're seeking brothers out in nefarious ways, just for the bump and grind or for marriage. But they're seeking brothers out. They are looking for brothers. That's what they want from brothers. They want what you're going to sit up. They want exactly what you're going to tell a man you don't want. They want the men themselves. That's what so I'm letting you know that you're coming across this. But see, what Passport OG is noticing is not independent of what Eboni K Williams has said. Eboni K Williams said what she said because of the black manosphere, including Passport Bros and SYSBM behind the scenes. Because right now, Passport Bros have the higher profile than SYSBM, and I'm glad they do. I'd rather back them up from behind the curtain than to be all out in the open and to have the high profile they got right now. But that's why she said what she said. She didn't say it independently of what's going on. She said it because of what is going on. The black manosphere in general, shouts out to you, Passport Bros, and behind the scenes SYSBM specifically, in that order, that arrangement, that configuration, are why Eboni K Williams had to say what she said. These are the men that are changing the trends. It's them. These are the men that are saying, listen, this is what we're going to do, and this is what we ain't going to do. We ain't going to tolerate this no more. Other men, they stop looking for women at 25. She gets 25, bye. 30, she can still conceive, but you only got 5 years to really get to know her before you start conceiving. And you got to, what you going to do, squeeze out 2 kids in the meantime and be comfortable? Now you got to rush through it. No shuck that fit. Buzzer beaters. That's what they're doing. Buzzer beaters. And in the West, sisters refuse to beat the buzzer at all. So that's what I wanted you to understand. These two are not independent. It's because of one is because of the other. Eboni K Williams said what she said because of what is going on. She's in a position to know because she said what she said about the bus driver, Ayanna Van Zant, who also is in a position to know because Ayanna Van Zant has been checked. She's been checked before. So she knows about the black manosphere and the pushback. So since Ayanna Van Zant knows about this, and she talked to Eboni K, now Eboni K Williams is bound to know about this. So she's saying, wait a minute. Oh, I see what's going on. She's seen videos. She's read the comments. She knows brothers are waking up. She knows about the comparison contrast. She's beginning to say, oh, wait a minute. So that's why these women of these other races were valuing their men. It's because their men were valuable. And their men were going to turn around and leave them and stop paying attention to them past a certain age. Hell, they got women here that are 30 years old, ain't never been married, and they ain't gonna get married. Don't nobody want them. If I could afford, I probably would have, but don't nobody want them. It's too late. They could be cute. Too late. 30? Where you been these last 5 years? That's real. And now brothers are starting to say, okay, well, that's what these other men are doing. We will settle for no less too. And exposing Western sisters' hatred of men and misandry, especially black men. That's what's happening now. And that's why Eboni K Williams is saying what she's saying. She's telling these young ladies, look, it's not going to turn out the way you want it to. And now they don't want to listen to her because what she's saying is not painful enough for men. You think about it. What else? What other reason do they have to look at her and be like, oh, shut up? Because what she's saying is not painful enough for men. They're willing to cheat themselves in order to be uncomfortable for men. That's the hatred they've been taught. It's also because they've heard from women her age, girl, these men ain't important. Girl, don't even validate these men like that. Girl, don't. They've heard that. And then along comes Eboni K Williams and says, actually, if this is what you want, you might want to go this route. Oh, shut up. We get mixed messages. That's the other reason. But why the so-called mixed messages now? Because Eboni K Williams knows what brothers are now learning, what you're learning in my audience. And that's why I'm grateful to Passport OG for covering that from Japan while I cover this from Saudi. And the Crimson Cure for covering what Eboni K said and then the reaction she's gotten and telling us from a lady's point of view why they're doing this. Thank you all for listening as always. Black card, black mind, blackout. Assalamu alaikum. Black heterosexual, non-select male power because they don't like it. Black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day. Thank you for flying again with us on Jet Black Airways, where jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off this mother cuss word. Gender justice forever.